I spoke to a new mother the other day. She called and she said, "Boy, oh boy," she goes, I never knew it was, it was going to be so expensive to have a baby." And I said, "Well," I says, "everything's going well, right? You're doing well. Your newborn baby's doing well." "Oh yeah, we're doing good. I'm so excited. He's doing really good, and I feel good. And it's been something that we've been anticipating and waiting for a long time." But she says that, yeah, it's just so expensive. I mean, I just got the bill from the hospital, and the amount of money that I have to pay. I had to pay some money, I mean, beforehand to go to my OBGYN and make sure I had my testing and the NIPT testing. And there's a lot of testing that goes on, obviously when you're pregnant, you want to make sure that your baby's healthy and doing well, and you're doing well as an expectant mother as well. So there are a lot of expenses, but she was at home, and 2 weeks later, after delivering her baby, who is very happy and healthy, she got this hospital bill, and she was a bit taken back by the amount of money it cost for her to have a baby. And I jokingly said to her, I says, "Well, first of all, congratulations. And second of all, you only have 18 more years to go. It gets to be very expensive. I mean, you're going to have a lot of things coming up in the next 18 years. Not only do you have to go to your pediatrician and make sure you've got your shots and vaccines, and checking in with your pediatrician for the baby's health and everything's moving along smoothly, but as you kind of move through life and get a little bit older, you're going to have slips and falls and accidents, and hopefully not too many, but breaks and just different types of things that are part of the expense of having a child and raising a child, and the wonderful opportunity that we all have when we do have children in our lives, that we can actually watch them grow and hopefully raise them to have a full and happy and better life than we've had. We want them to always obviously do more and be more than we were, and we want to impart our knowledge and our wisdom that we've accumulated over the years. And I'd like to impart a little bit of knowledge and wisdom for you as well. I was reading an article after I spoke to this young woman who gave birth to her baby, about the cost of raising a child. Just out of curiosity, I just wanted to kind of look into this, because things do change from year to year. And lo and behold, it's about $15,000 to $17,000 a year to raise a child. Now think about that. $17,000 to $15,000 a year to raise a child. So how much are you making per year? How much are you earning as an employee? What type of insurance do you have? Because you're now going to have a family insurance plan, not just for yourself, but for your child. And if you are married, your spouse. If you're not married, that's another question too. But the most important thing when you're thinking about having a child or raising a child, or the expenses of being a parent, is what happens if something happens to you. What happens if something happens to you as a mom or you as a dad, whether you're married to the mother of your child, or you're married to the father of your child. Nowadays, in 2023, it's not often necessarily, it doesn't have to be a husband and a wife that have a child. They could have a child and not be married. But it's really important that you understand that it's an expense that you're going to have for the next 18 years of your child's life. And when you start looking at $17,000 a year, excuse me for, I'm kind of dry, I'm a little dry thinking about it. $17,000 a year to raise a child, you're looking at about, anywhere between $306,000 to $315,000 in 18 years to raise a child. The expenses of raising a child. Home, food, clothes, health insurance, everything that goes into schooling and books and supplies, and everything that goes into raising a child. So I wanted to kind of bring this up, because oftentimes people think everything's going to be fine, and it is going to be fine. Everything's going to work out and everything's going to be good, but you need to make sure that as a parent, whether you're a single parent or a married parent, you need to make sure that you have life insurance. And I'm not talking about life insurance through your employer, because most people nowadays don't really stay with their employee employer very often. As employees, people move from job to job quite often. You know, you see a lot of people that you might be working with now that they came from a different place and they're gone in 2 years or they're gone in 4 years. Well, when you have group life insurance, that's fine. That group life insurance is in place while you are part of an employer group. But when you leave employment, that policy is gone. If you lose your job, if the job closes, the business closes, if the company lets you go, lays you off, fires you, you no longer have health insurance. And in that time between when you may have lost your coverage from your group policy and when you find a new job, or if you find a new job, there is no life insurance. So God forbid if anything were to happen to you, what's going to happen to your child? How is somebody else going to be able to help and care for your child if you don't have life insurance? It's very important that you have a life insurance policy that you own. Not that the company owns, not that it's a group policy, not that you're going to lose that policy when you step away from the job, but a policy that you own on your own. Think about you as a parent, and you'll start thinking about this more and more as your child gets older, because you're going to be reaching in your pocket more and more. So in theory, you're a human cash station. So you're responsible for coming up with the cash to provide the things that your child's going to need throughout their life. And the most important thing in your child's life is going to be you as a parent, or your spouse or your significant other as a parent as well. You know, if you are married, you want to make sure that you have a policy as the mother or the father. Both of you need to have your own insurance policy, because, you know, oftentimes people go, well, you know, I'm the mom, so if something happens to me, the baby will be taken care of because my husband has a really good job and he's going to be able to take care of everything. Well, you don't realize that, you know, if something were to happen to you as a mother, okay, and you are maybe working full-time or part-time or not working at all and caring for your children or bringing up your children, there's a value to that. Not just the maternal value, but a value, a monetary value, where, you know, that has to be replaced if something were to happen to you. So if something were to happen to you as a mother, how is your husband or significant other going to be able to afford to continue to go to work and make sure that your child has the care that they need when you're no longer there? And conversely, you think about if you're a father of a child. If something were to happen to you, how is your wife or your significant other going to be able to take care of your child moving forward if something were to happen to you? So it's really important, and it just came up to me, like I said, you know, when I spoke to this new mom, and she was like, she really, and I don't mean to be, you know, flippant about it, but I mean, she was really taken back about how much it costs to have a child. It's not an inexpensive thing to do, and there's a lot that we need to provide for our children as parents. So it's really important that we're aware and understand what type of expenses are going to be ahead of us when we do have a child come into our lives, and how we're going to make sure that that child's life is protected financially. If something happens to mom or something happens to dad, you need to have a life insurance policy in place. So really important, think about this. Life insurance, you want to name the mother or the father as the beneficiary and vice versa. You want to make sure that if something were to happen, if something were to happen to my child, I want to make sure that, you know, my wife would have life insurance so that my wife could take care of the child, and I would be able to provide some sort of money. So you're looking at a significant amount of life insurance that you want to make sure that you have. Probably the best way to go about doing that, when you're thinking about a less expensive way to go about doing it, would be a term policy. Oftentimes there used to be, you know, there's 15-year terms and there's 20-year terms. There's not like an 18-year term. So you can each have your own 20-year term insurance policy, so that if something were to happen, okay, and term insurance is going to be less expensive for you to purchase than a permanent whole life or universal life policy. If you kind of think about your insurance expenses is a house or an apartment. When you rent an apartment, you're putting money out on a monthly basis you're never going to see again. You're renting it. Similarly, it's like a term insurance policy. You're renting insurance, you're paying for insurance on a monthly basis or an annual basis. If something were to happen to you, the life insurance policy is going to pay off. If nothing happens to you, that money is gone. It's going to be gone forever. There's no cash value being built up in a term policy, but it's less expensive for you to go out and purchase at the time of your child's birth or just before your child's birth. Go out and purchase a 20-year term insurance policy if you want to make sure that you have coverage and you're trying not to spend a lot of money because, right, we went back to the same thing. It's expensive to have a child. So just another one of the expenses of having a child is going out and buying that term life insurance policy so that your life and your child's father's life or mother's life is insured in case something were to happen. Now, at the end of that term policy, after 20 years, or even after 18 years, it's entirely up to you on how long you wanted to keep it. You want to make sure that you have significant resources available to you if something were to happen in that 18-year period, like we talked about, $310,000 it's going to possibly cost you to raise your child. After that time, if you wanted to let the policy go, you could let the policy go. Another option, if you wanted to, and you had the cash and you had a good job and you could afford to go into a universal or a whole life policy, you could do that as well. That'll accumulate some cash value, put some money away for later in a universal life policy. It's going to cost you more money, but if you're concerned about cash flow, not paying a lot for your life insurance, but making sure that you do have life insurance so that your child's future is protected in case something would happen to mom or to dad, a term life insurance is really the best way to go. Oftentimes, you know, if you're having a child or had a child, or if you're now a grandparent of a new grandbaby, we got to be careful when we start having conversations with our kids about what they should and shouldn't do as far as insurance is concerned. But you might want to slip them a video and say, hey, you might want to take a look at this to just kind of think about a couple different things now that you've got a baby and I've got a grandchild. You know, if you know somebody that's in a similar situation where they just had a child, they're not sure what to do, or they never even thought about, you know, what type of expenses are going to be ahead of them as they move on through the next 18 years of their child's life. Really, really important. Share this information, please. Even, you know, give a like, hit the notification button on the videos, subscribe to my channel, please. If you subscribe to this channel, what happens is YouTube sends this information out to other people that are interested in insurance, especially in this situation. The life insurance situation is a very, very critical and crucial piece that most people, you know, they're really in denial. They're you know, when we have children, we're younger. We're in our 20s, maybe early 30s or something like that. We think we're invincible and nothing's going to ever happen to us. Sometimes, you know, things happen that you're not expecting to happen in your life. I hope that never happens to you or your family, but it does happen to people. And it's really important that you are prepared and you have a plan in place in case something were to happen. That's what insurance is all about. It's to make sure that if something happens, whether it's your home or your auto, or in this case, you know, your life, you want to make sure that your child has every opportunity to have a wonderful life, and any spouse or significant other that you share that child's life with has the resources so that they can help your child continue on through their journey in life if you're not there for them. So I just wanted to mention that after I had this conversation. We talked and we chuckled a little bit after the conversation about the baby and what's going to happen and all the different things that are going to come up. And just as another little side note, you know, when you do have a child, that is what's called a life event. So sometimes it may be to your benefit to look at your health insurance at that point in time. After you've had a child, okay, you can go back and you can look at your health insurance through your employer and decide, okay, is it better at this point in time that I have a different policy that I'd like to look at where maybe my premiums might be a little bit lower on a monthly basis because I've got some additional expenses now. But on the other hand, maybe the less you pay on a monthly basis ends up to be more out of pocket with co-payments and deductible and co-insurance, and your out-of-pocket max might be higher. It might be better for you to look at a policy after you've had your child where you're paying a little bit more out of pocket because you're going to see that doctor. You're going to go to the pediatrician. Now, there's certain things that are covered, obviously, at 100% as preventative, but look at your policy options after you've given birth or your wife or significant other has had a child. Have them take a look at the policy, the health insurance policies that are available to them as well. So there's a lot going on. One other thing I do want to mention, and there's going to be a video made about this as well, explanation of benefits I want to mention, especially when you are having children or children come into your lives. Explanation of benefits are sent to you from your insurance company. Anytime a claim has been submitted to your insurance company and processed by the insurance company, they send this explanation of benefits out, and it actually will show you. It explains how the benefits were applied to the claim that your doctor or your facility submitted to the insurance plan. It's a great document. I'll get into more detail about explanation of benefits in another video, but I encourage everybody that has health insurance to be aware of what an explanation of benefits is and read the explanation of benefits. Just don't throw them away, because that's another conversation I've had with a few different other people about explanation of benefits and understanding their insurance and coverage and benefits. But like I said, we'll talk about that in another video. But please do call your insurance agent, talk to them. When you add your baby to the policy for your homeowner's policy, or you're letting your health insurance know that you've had a baby and there's a new person in your life and in your family, let your insurance advisors know this information, and don't be taken aback when they ask you about possible life insurance, because it's a really, really important piece that you should be considering and really should be taking action on when you do have a child. Look at that term life insurance policy and make sure that everything's taken care of, okay? Please, again, thanks for coming back. First and foremost, I really appreciate you coming back, and hit the like button if you would. Please subscribe, because like I said, it gives YouTube information on that you find this valuable, and they'll send this information out to other folks that are in a similar situation that could use this information as well. So thank you again for watching. If you have had a baby recently, congratulations on the new addition to your family, and put a question or a comment down below if you've got other questions about life insurance or health insurance or any other type of insurance I can help you with. By all means, that's what I'm here for. Insurance School for you, and it is for you, and I'm here with any questions or concerns that you have, so please do reach out. Thanks again for watching. Have yourself a wonderful week, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye now.